Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Residence Container Podcast. I am your host, Callie Johnson. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with me. So let's jump right into things. If you saw my most recent article, I put out one of my more vulnerable posts a few days ago, and it is called The Cost of Solitude. And I wanted to dive a little bit more into the material in there because if you are a part of my female audience right now and are single, um, this might have really resonated with you. Even if you're not single, maybe you are having hardships in your relationship right now. This might have resonated as well. So I talked about how, I, for the most part, have been single for quite a while now. There have been a few months in the past several years where I've dated people for a little while. Um, but I haven't really been in a serious long term relationship for quite a while now. And that is partially by choice and also not by choice. Um, it's not for lack of desire for wanting partnership. I still uh, deeply desire that. However, with my healing journey, everything that I've overcome, and everything that I have allowed myself to distort parts of myself in order to try to get the guy or to maintain whatever it was that I had. I've gotten to this point as a 36-year-old woman that I don't do that anymore. A huge part of a healing journey for a woman in particular, especially if she is choosing solitude, is one, a sense of accountability. And what I've had to do the past several years was really take accountability for all of the ways that I was not being true to my ultimate desires in relationship, and taking accountability for how I was responding with the people that I was, in relationship with or trying to have a relationship with. Um, that level of accountability makes you have to spend a lot of time with yourself. And I'm really glad that I have. Um, and it's helped me become aware of where I needed to make positive change in order to be the kind of woman that could call in the relationship that she desires. Now, if you are a single woman right now and are aware of kind of this dating pool climate that we're going through right now is very polarizing, because on one hand we have this awakening happening collectively in the feminine where we're not that old school feminist thing that, like, oh, screw all of you men, like, we can do what you do. It's not that attitude. It is, I do not have to depend on you for my survival. So now my expectations have been need to be met because I don't depend on you financially anymore for stability. So if you can't meet me and provide me emotional security and be a person that can meet me at the level of the peace that I've created for myself, then I don't have room for you. I can't make space for you and give to you the things that men tend to expect of women. And I'm not saying that every single man out there is like this, but there is an overarching theme that men have to come to realize, having been conditioned in a patriarchal society, that women are not there to provide solely their looks and their bodies for them anymore, because we're not going to depend on them for our survival anymore. But what that's asking them is excuse me, is for them to start taking accountability for their actions, for their own healing, and getting up to our level in how they view us, how they treat us, how they meet us. And so it's created a lot of divide, because being in the midst of this right now, there is also, unfortunately, the I guess more of the quote unquote red pill movement happening with men, when you have like the Andrew Tates of the world that are telling, large audiences of men that, they're owed a woman that only gives, and he doesn't have to have reciprocity for her, and that women don't serve a purpose other than to be in the eye of the man. So essentially what's happening is you have this false identity of male loneliness epidemics, but really what it is that women aren't going to take shit anymore, and we would just prefer to be alone in our peace rather than deal with somebody like that can't meet us in our peace. And that requires a woman to be comfortable in her solitude. And that's takes a, for me, I've always been kind of comfortable in my solitude, but it wasn't until I've gone longer and longer without long-term relationship that I realized, you know, that even though I was single, my constant pursuit of relationship was also hindering my personal development, and that just being in pursuit and not actually pursuing who Callie is inside was getting in the way, because I was constantly getting distracted by these, half met dating scenarios or partnerships where I couldn't fully be met. But, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for all of them, because it was just another way of me figuring out like what I don't want and what I do want. And I had to start getting more specific about what I desire. And through that, I've awakened this part of me that has gotten so attuned to what it is that I want that I can immediately be like, no, that person's not for me. And it's not that I'm being too picky. It's just that when you've gone through all of this work of finding accountability for yourself and your own personal growth and healing, then it's easy to tell who hasn't. And it's not from a place of judgment. It's simply like, oh, like I can see that this person isn't going to meet me in this way. So that's where we as women have to find it in ourselves. Like, do we choose ourselves and like this like little bit of uncomfortability of getting used to being by the self, or do we keep distorting and fragmenting ourselves for the hopes of somebody else's potential or the relationship that's not actually fully meeting us? Now, you'll probably see many women out there that I say yes to this. I say yes. My piece, I've worked so fucking hard for you all. Like the restless nights of anxiety and PTSD and the symptoms of bipolar that I went through forever. Like I worked so hard to get where I am today. So like that cannot be disturbed, because if that's taken away from me, like if you don't have your mental health, you don't have shit. So that's why that's so important for me. But oh, what was I saying now? Um what There's a part of it, and I think this is, maybe like a slight facade of having to hold strength as a woman. And a lot of women out there that are talking about this, though, what I feel is not being talked about is how can we hold our solidarity to be true and something that we will not um, let go of in place of the hopes of a relationship that's not really for us. But how can we be in that solitude and in that stage of understanding like who I am is worthy, but also maintain our softness? And when I talk, or when I was writing that essay, you know, yes, there are absolutely times where I feel my heart cracking open, because with everything that I'm trying to do for myself right now, there are times that like, fuck, this would just feel so good if I could share this with somebody. And I'm happy that I'm sharing it with myself, but it does crack your heart in a way that you kind of remember like like what's worth is being in that vulnerable place of allowing yourself to not be okay in your solidarity every single minute of it, and that it's still okay to want and desire partnership even though you have strong boundaries. um, because one of the biggest hurdles that I've had to work through has been a hardened heart. And so, what I'm calling to for my fellow single ladies out there, if you are choosing solidarity right now, I'm really proud of you for doing what's best for you. But don't allow that to make you hardened in the end. Because I'm still a hopeless romantic. I still am like, I am going to have that person that's going to meet me one day. It's just not right now. It could be tomorrow. I don't fucking know, but if I allow myself to like depreciate my heart or to harden my heart, then it will always be solidarity. And when we get hardened to the world as well. And that closes us off to our connection to source. It closes off our connections to other humans and community. And it shuts down our empathy and our love. So as long as you are not feeling like you're not even allowed to cry or want a partnership because you're choosing yourself, that's not really the point. The point is choosing yourself and allowing yourself to stay soft in the moments where you're still aware of your desires, but knowing that your worthiness of what you desire is so much more worth it than having to fight for somebody to make you feel worthy, or to try so hard to make somebody else understand your worthiness. And that's why I brought up the archetype of Sophia. So I've learned a little bit about Sophia through my embodiment certification. And this has kind of touched back like the past few weeks. The Sophia archetype and the Jungian theory is essentially the woman that has become unapologetic, is understanding of her worthiness, and has created a love for herself that is in reciprocity to others and herself. And if you look at the actual archetype of Sophia, she is, and from the Gnostic Christian tradition, is essentially looked at as like the divine spark, or sort of the female counterpart to Christ consciousness that helped manifest the material world. And I'm starting to understand why Jung picked Sophia as that archetype, because a woman that has entered into the Sophia stage understands the divine spark within her and is not trying to find that spark externally, whether that be through a partner or her career or finances, and that she is worthy because she is the divine spark. And that doesn't mean that she's closed off to the idea of partnership, but she no longer um, unwinds from who she truly is and her authenticity in order to appease the male. And she is met at the level of her spark. In other words, she's not codependent on anything else, but still understands love in a different way. And so that's why I feel like if you look at what's going on in the collective right now, if you're single and like kind of see this happening, it's, in a way, it's like a lot of like a huge majority of women are coming into the Sophia stage at the same time, which is also really amazing considering what we're going through in the world right now. Like the feminine is rising and understanding her place outside of patriarchal control. And what has been so detrimental about patriarchy has been the removal of the feminine from the family structure, from spirituality, etc., because we see such a lack of empathy and compassion and reciprocity in how all things are done. And as women are coming to realize that we actually do have this inner divine spark of we're understanding who we are, our actual strength in our femininity, the masculine counterpart is being asked to meet the feminine. Otherwise, we're not going to do that. So, yep. Yeah, I guess that's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much for tuning in to my podcast. If you have not, make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter. It's totally free. You receive an email when I post a new article or podcast. And if you really enjoy what I'm doing in the resonance container, I do also have a paid tier that is $7 a month. And what that is a space for me to do deeper transmissions. I also provide you with audio, meditations, worksheets, um, small things that can help you on your own personal development and healing journey. And I really am trying to make these deeper tools that I offer um, very accessible to the modern person as well. So I'm not going to sit there and say that you have to go do a 10-day silent retreat. I want to offer you all tools that are practical and also give you slower material that gives you that space to slow down in a world that feels very chaotic right now. So that is also available. And if you all would do me a huge favor and either share this on your social media or make sure to just at least hit that like button, comment. It really helps me grow this thing that I'm making. So all of your support is like I'm so grateful. So thank you all so much for being here, and I will catch you all next time.